We are going to see how to create this timeline effect using CSS3. As you can see, once you hover on the year, you can see the company logo showing up. So this is the 80th episode of our CSS3 web design tutorial. I'll leave all the source code in the description and along with the files required to work on this project. Now, these are the images. We are going to use Visual Studio Code. Let me create a file and name it as index2.html, and I need a CSS file. I'll name it as style2.css. I made a mistake. It's CSS file, not HTML file. Let me save as Ctrl+Shift+S, then all files, style2.css. Now let me use the boilerplate load by using exclamatory mark tab. Then let me link the style sheet, which is style2.css, and I'm going to use the CDN for the jQuery. I'll copy paste it from the previous work. So this is the font, and I'm using the CDN for jQuery. Now let's start creating HTML. We don't need the heading for this. We'll directly jump into the container class, which is wrapper. Then we need timeline wrapper, and after that, inside that we need a line. I'll name it as line area, and then we need individual years. So single item is the container which will hold the span tag first, and this would be the year. Just after this year, we will be having an image, the container of the image. I'll name it as image area, and then anchor tag. This is optional, but I'll keep it to then image, and then the span tag. The anchor tag is because we have two span tag. To differentiate each of them, I'm using anchor tag, nothing else. So this is the company name. So I'm going to repeat this several times, changing the image name and the company name, and that's done. Let me show you how does it looks. So we have named the file as index2.html. So let me get into the CSS part. First thing, we are going to remove the browser default padding and margin. So let me copy paste the code. It is going to be redundant, and for all element I have used the font as well, called Livree Bakersfield. Now let me hide the images. For now, display none. So let's design the body. Let me give the background color as black, and let me give the width and height as of the screen size using the vertical viewport width and viewport height, overflow hidden in case if anything goes away from our height and width. Now let me give wrapper width 100%, height of 240 pixel, and just to identify, I can give the background color just to know, because it would be confusing if we don't have background color. So position, so I want this to be at the center, so I'm giving the container, whatever is there inside the body, it should be at the center. So display flex, align at the center, justify content center. Now we are going to use the inner container. I'm going to give the same height, which is 240 pixel. Just by giving 100%, it takes the height of the container. Now let me draw a line. So width 100%, 80%, height 2 pixel, background white. Now I want this to be at the center of the wrapper, so it is not going to work. Let me try this display flex inside the timeline wrapper and check. Again, there is an error. If I make this flex direction column one below the other. So what we can do is we can use the position trick to place the line at the center of the wrapper. So position absolute, left 50 percentage, top 50 percentage. Whenever we use left and top 50 percentage, we need to use transform translate minus 50 percentage x-axis minus 50 percentage y-axis. So as a shorthand, I'm just giving 50 percentage. Fine, we have made the line at the center of the wrapper. Now it's time for the individual item. I want to have space between these two, so I'll give margin right of 70 pixel, not left but right. Now it is not getting side by side. Let me try display inline block, and let me give width of 10 pixel, sorry 10 percentage. Again it's not moving. It is because of the display property which we have given to the container. We have to remove this and it will work fine. Cool. Now we need a circle, so I don't think now we need the background color. Let me try removing it. Okay, we just need one more thing, so I'll leave it as it is. So let's focus on the circle of the single item. So I'll select the pseudo element, which is before. To use the position on this element, we have to use the container position relative. So that's the reason I have given position relative at the top. Now we can use position absolute here. So I want the border to pixel solid white. Let me try giving width and height as 16 pixel. Now border is 50 percentage. We have to use position absolute. Let me try position absolute. Left of 50 percentage. Now it will show up. Now anyhow I have to place this circle over the line, so I'll adjust the left and top appropriately. Yep, it works. Now what we need, we have to make the animation. So let me add the property animation my move to s linear infinite. So this is the identifier at the rate keyframes identifier. Then on 0 percentage, what should happen? It's a time frame. On 100 time frame, on 0 time frame, I want the width and height to be 16 pixel, and on 100 time frame I want the width and height to be 18 pixel. And on 100th again the same. Refresh it. Now it works. So now let's focus on this fan. So single item, inside that we have a span. So let me give the color as white so that we can see what is happening. Now let's adjust this with the help of margin or position relative top 20 pixel, and left 20 pixel, 50 pixel. Now let me adjust it so that it is just above the dot. Now if I zoom in, it is going to get crack. You can see we don't want this. So what we can do is, let me remove this. Since we have already given position relative to the parent, we just have to align center and give margin top as it is span. Margin does not apply, margin 25 pixel does not apply to it. Minus negative value of the margin will not apply. Now for this we can use one thing, which is we can give position relative and top of negative value. So let's use that. Position relative and top negative value. Now let's focus on the image area. And just not to break when I zoom in, I'm using white space no wrap. So it's good. Now let's move ahead with the image area class. Let me give the height and width. Height 100 pixel, width 100 pixel. 100 would be too small. Let me fix 150. Now we have, let me use the hierarchy. Then after anchor, inside anchor tag we have span. Let me give color of the span as white so that we can see what is actually happening. And we have used the height and width. Let me use the same to the child for anchor tag as well as for image. Border radius 50 pixel for the image. So just to show up, I need to remove the display none image. Now it's just 150. Cool. Now we need to hide this. So we need to have, let me check. For the image we need margin bottom so that we get some space between the company name and the logo. Cool. Now let's make this z index -1. So we need to choose a parent, which is single item. I made this display none so that none of the image shows up. So we will choose the container in a single item. Then inside the single item we'll attach the class active. So once the class active is attached to the single item, so the image inside gets the style display block. So I'm purposely making this active so you can see. So it is properly visible because single item with class active, whatever is their image, I need the display block to be applied. So let's focus on the script tag. Now let me copy paste the document.ready because you know how it works. So when I hover on the span tag, which is inside the single item span, which is a span tag. So when I just mouse enter or mouse leave inside the span and I want to apply a action, or you can say I want to apply event, which is mouse move or mouse leave. So when I mouse move or mouse leave on the span, I want to select all the active class. So active class is applied, active class is on the single item. So let me choose that active class with single item. I want to remove it, so dot remove class, and the name of the class is active. So after that, when the span which I have hovered on, it has a parent which is again a single item. So inside the single item we have image. So here what happens is, when I hover on the span, the parent is selected, and again the parent has the class active. If the class active is applied to the parent class of the span. So this is what means on the second one. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening.